Hi, everybody. It's good to see a few familiar names on the participant list today, as well as those who are new to KTSL. Some of you already know about our KASPA Tech Bar. However, today's focus won't be on KASPA specifically, but instead we're going to look at how innovations in tech bars can support the new ways of working as we start to pivot to more of a virtual use cases and virtual needs for a tech bar capability. Just going to quickly run through the brief agenda for today. So we're going to look at how services support are changing. So what's driving the need to change how we use the tech bar and the technology that it provides. We're then going to look at how tech bar has evolved. So what's coming up, what's new, how they've changed from the sort of the traditional use cases. We're then going to look at specific user journeys. So we're going to focus on 3 different members of staff and then how they would use and benefit from those latest tech bar features. Then going to have a look at the impact on the wider business, areas that could utilize these services, mainly focused on IT, but not limited to just IT. How some of the tech bar technology can enable the rest of the business to use the same spend and the same investment. And then finally, as Andrew alluded to, we're going to have a Q&A. So any questions you get as you go, just pop them into the chat screen, as Andrew said, and then we can cover them off at the end of the session. So how we're going to start today is to look at how services support are changing. In offices, users always have the option to go and ask for help. So whether this was a physical space dedicated to providing IT support, such as a tech bar or an IT hub, or just being able to see colleagues that were on hand in person to help. However, when we're working remotely, we don't have these same visual cues. There are less clear routes for assistance, and this often leads to a return to phone-based support. And that can put pressure on that channel, but can also result in the remote work experience and increased downtime and stress. Now it's more important than ever before to find a new way of doing things, making sure people know how to get the help they need and when they need it from wherever they happen to be working. What's more, with the disruption caused by COVID over the last year, there will be a change in working which will persist. Aside from the challenges it's brought, it's also opened up the benefits to some organisations around remote working or more flexibility to on-site working. In many cases, it's going to be prompting a hybrid model of splitting time between the home and the office. With this in mind, tech solutions need to be more flexible, supporting transient workforces who share time between locations. Development of return to office plans also present new challenges, such as creating touchless environments, keeping staff dispersed, and ensuring services received at home are as efficient as those on site. Many organisations that have embraced new technology support the shift to a hybrid workplace are seeing that while remote work is cost effective and productivity can be retained, in-office support and spaces are still uniquely beneficial to employee engagement. Adopting a solution that considers both areas is critical to building and maintaining a strong culture beyond the office. Plus, at a time where employee stress levels may already be running high, and with remote work in some cases providing the opportunity for employee burnout, finding new ways to support employee engagement at home through tech is a crucial part of boosting employee experience. What I want to look at now is how tech bars have evolved over time. I want to start by sort of talking about what a tech bar is. So many of you already know what a tech bar can do, but for those who don't, I want to provide a brief overview of where we sort of started from. So a tech bar provides employees with streamlined, digitally enhanced and customer-facing approach to their IT needs. It would typically include break fix, tech advice and support. Tech bars are positioned in one physical location, and they enable IT support workers to provide a better, more efficient service. They give the employees transparency around wait times, and even in the most digitally advanced tech-driven organisations, if your computer was to suddenly stop working, there's often very little you can do about it aside contacting the IT service desk and waiting. One of the main pain points people come up against when dealing with internal IT service desk isn't the service itself. It's actually not knowing when they will be served, and that's what creates the frustration. It's not being able to work around their own diaries. It's about having to queue, wait, sit. So you can use the tech bar to take that away from them. And that means that you can also move some of the load from that singleized central phone support to other areas of the IT service, which means if that's overstretched or under-resourced, or they're managing multiple inboxes or jumping from problem to problem, it becomes more hard to manage that in large organizations. And that's why there is a need for a smarter, more efficient approach to the traditional IT service desk. And that's what led to many organizations starting a tech bar service. Why do they matter? Well, according to employee experience management tools such as Happy Signals, tech bars have the highest user satisfaction rating among the most common support channels, and this runs at around 88%, which is significantly higher than some of the other channels that are in operation. Not only that, but also in the tech bar, half of the amount of time lost via phone support is removed, and a third of the lost time reported for email support. So it takes away load from those areas, but also gives the user a much better experience. And rather than filtering through multiple inboxes and managing the ticket systems, your IT team have a much clearer idea of their schedule for the day, because you're using the appointment booking system that the tech bar allows, whether this is virtual or whether this is on site. This also means that they won't be continuously bombarded with questions that lie outside of their area of expertise, nor will they all be needed at the IT support desk from a fixed time every single day. Finally, with face-to-face contact, with the right software to provide support, your IT team will naturally build better, more understanding relationships with colleagues throughout the business. KTSL's KASPA Tech Bar is an innovative bundle of digital queuing, appointment scheduling, and management solutions, such as digital gurus and live chat. It's cost-effective and quickly to get up and running. So let's take a very quick look at the capabilities. We're not focusing on the product today, so I'm just going to whiz through these, and then we'll get back onto the use cases for where tech bar can be used. But I quickly want to show some of the capabilities that we provide. One of the key aspects of the tech bar is appointment. So the ability to schedule an appointment around your workload, or clearly showing current waiting times, so you know when to expect to be seen. Couple this with access to virtual assistants, bots, gurus, and live chat, gives you the option to provide a service for one single application. You can also drive hardware management via smart lockers for secure pickup, and also using an internal device store or product catalog to give a persona-based view of what the end user can select. So you're driving how the end user should behave and what they need and what they require. You're not just giving them a blank canvas, you're allowing it to work within the processes within your business. And finally, you can leverage the access point to gather data on employee experience as well, such as capturing net promoter scores, pushing specific training, as well as running company promotions, such as a refresh program, down to the device. So when the end user engages with the tech bar, you can also get information that's pertinent to his role or pertinent to an organization that's running a particular program. What I want to do now is focus on using the tech bar technology, but within specific user journeys. So we're going to look at how it can support an organization wherever the people are. We're going to focus on Pete, who's the head of IT. So he's the head of IT at a global retailer, and he's responsible for providing support to 3,000 users around the UK. He's currently working from home, although the organization plans to adopt a hybrid split of staff in the office and also working remotely. Let's have a look at Pete's challenges. He needs to provide excellent IT services regardless of location. So what objectives might underpin this requirement? First of all, he needs to support people who are going to be working on site. So there will be people returning to site, but they might be aligned to new HR policies around return to office plans. So Pete needs to support that objective. He also needs to support people that are going to continue to work from home. So where we need that flexibility of home working, we need to make sure that we have the same quality and consistency of service. And finally, the third objective for Pete is where it's a mix of office and home working, a hybrid model where the support is going to be blended. So let's focus on Emma. Pete is going to work with Emma, who heads up the company's HR department. His involvement in the return to work plan will be providing support and introducing new tech innovations to ensure HR's goal of keeping employees safe is achieved. In this instance, we'll look at one vital update on technology that supports part of Emma's return to office plan. What we're going to talk about is touchless technology. By introducing touchless screens for use alongside virtual tech bar capabilities, there is, of course, a long list of benefits in using this kind of technology, such as reducing costs by using a digital solution in place of a member of staff on site. However, in this instance, we'll just focus on Pete's contribution to making the office safer through tech. So, working from home, Emma needs to book a meeting room in the office, and she needs to conduct a face-to-face interview. Upon booking, the system sends the candidate the directions and all the required information needed for their interview. Emma arrives on site. She is welcomed by the virtual greeting screen, and face recognition technology logs her in and confirms the meeting room is ready, so she heads to it. When the candidate arrives on site, the virtual greeting screen welcomes, then signs them in and alerts Emma that they have arrived. In both cases, Emma and the candidate both were thermally scanned, ensuring neither had a high temperature and could commence the interview safely. The virtual greeting screen shows the candidate directions to the room. Following the use of the room, it's then scheduled for cleaning as part of the meeting booking system. Using voice commands and eliminating the need for touch keeps staff and visitors safe by preventing opportunities for contamination. Where some return to work plans hope to limit the number of staff on site, this is supported as virtual members of staff, such as video concierge, can assist those needing help. For more complicated requests, users can still benefit from the ability to speak to a real person if needed. What's more, the technology can be accessed remotely to support a hybrid model of work. Through virtual interactions, information can be supplied to staff visitors before they even arrive on site, via their computers or phones. Services that can be arranged before arrival include booking out lockers and meeting rooms. And by doing these kinds of activities in advance, it helps contribute to employee safety by keeping teams dispersed and managing time around scheduled cleaning. Finally, the screens are even able to use thermal screening to detect fever in users upon arrival, which helps prevent the spread of illness. We can also, when the screens are not being used, being interactive, the screen display warnings about safety, training updates, or general news about the site that can be displayed on rotation to remind staff of how to keep themselves and others safe. Now let's look at Pete's second objective, so providing the same level of service to users receive in the office, but where they're working from home. In this situation, we see Pete providing support to Lucas. As you can see, has a problem with his PC, and as it's nearly the end of the month, he urgently needs to get back up and running quickly. In this instance, Lucas is working remotely. Pete's solution is to integrate the virtual tech bar with smart lockers. To solve the burden of downtime when things go wrong and staff are working from home is to provide a system that integrates with smart lockers to see how this would work and save time for Lucas. First of all, on his mobile, Lucas accesses the virtual tech bar application to initiate a live chat with an agent. At this point, the agent confirms the laptop is broken via troubleshooting. The virtual tech bar app locates the nearest smart locker containing a replacement laptop and sends Lucas instructions to access the locker, with the access being granted by a numeric or QR code. Lucas heads to the nearest smart locker location, which can be either in the office or an alternative, convenient, safe local location, scans the code on his phone, and collects the replacement laptop. At this point, Lucas puts his broken laptop in the locker, ready for repair. While on site, Lucas logs into the replacement device, allowing it to sync on the secure network. He then returns home and can resume his work. And let's recap on the benefits of this journey. First of all, Lucas was able to access a replacement quickly and easily at a time convenient for him. It was initiated by a single remote engineer doing the triage. No other resources were required. Lucas was not reliant on someone else taking time to resolve the problem. He was able to easily log in, collect the replacement as soon as he could, therefore reducing frustration. Smart locker provisioning not only reduces the need for person-to-person contact, but in some cases will also prevent staff from having to travel as far as they may otherwise need to access what they need. Now let's look at the third of Pete's objectives, supporting a hybrid model. This time, we're going to look at Alex, the account manager. In this instance, Pete's aim is to support colleagues like Alex who require a flexible working schedule with his time split between home and office. Alex needs to be able to source what he needs at home and within the office from wherever he is. Pete's solution this time is to provide the tech bar benefits, but virtually. Whether staff are at home and need to speak to someone in IT or in the office, booking appointments virtually means no waiting around. Staff at home can access the same level of service as those in the office, and having pre-booked appointments means that those who are on site can be kept dispersed, which is a feature of returning to office plans. Virtual appointments also reduce the need for physical tech bar to be manned so frequently, again supporting the new way of working that aims to eliminate having more people than necessarily on site at once. In this case, using live chat, Alex goes to the tech bar app. Alex's issue can either be resolved at this point over the live chat by an engineer, or the engineer can decide if a ticket should be raised to resolve it. Should Alex need either a more in-depth chat with an engineer or to bring the hardware to the office when he's in, he can use the virtual tech bar app to book an appointment, minimizing having to wait around. Alex can also book a hot desk or meeting room from home, ready for his return to the office. Should Alex need any new equipment and smart lockers aren't in use, or he won't be in the office for a while, the virtual tech bar can integrate with existing suppliers to send him what he needs to his home quickly. So integrating into an outsourced laptop or peripheral delivery service, for example. Alex also needs to know if his clients are going to visit the office, he can arrange everything they need to know for their arrival from wherever he is. So he can use the same journey that Emma used earlier on to make use of that tech from externally, but provide a good experience when he goes back to the office. Let's recap on the solution to the third objective. By utilizing the live chat or appointments has helped reduce the downtime. Consistency of delivery in all scenarios has boosted employee experience alongside simplifying the ways to engage. It has supported safe working. And by leveraging IT staff efficiently, it's helped to reduce the cost to deliver. Now let's look at the impact on the wider business. While we are focusing this webinar on the impact that a virtual tech bar can have in helping with IT service, it can also support flexible working for the wider business areas. Across HR, by leveraging HR services over the same platform, such as providing the capability for HR questions and cases, HR live chat, and HR appointments. It can allow operations and on-site support to manage shifts more productively by focusing on the busy times or providing a virtual concierge, which can be accessed from anywhere in the world at any time for global organizations to make the best use of their IT support coverage. It can also be used by security to control building access and provide a virtual reception. Facilities can also use it for building management, and you can integrate it into smart building technology, such as bringing the air conditioning up to temperature in a meeting room that's been booked just prior to the meeting room being used. And finally, adds a layer of transparency to the leadership team in terms of capturing the metrics and the feedback directly from users in all areas of work. We hope you found today's presentation useful. We're now going to open up to the Q&A. So I'm going to hand back to Andrew to run the Q&A. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Aaron. And thank you for the questions that have been coming in. We've had at least 3 coming so far. So I'll play the role of question master. First one, Aaron, was really specifically around KASPA's integration to Helix. So Fabian was asking, is KASPA linked into Helix workflow?
Yes. So we integrate directly into the BMC Helix technology stack. So you can integrate the tech bar appointments through the digital workplace front end, or you can integrate them through the ticket back end. We can integrate or call the BMC virtual chat or live chat directly from the tech bar application or the chat bot, if that's what you're using. Equally, we can provide a go-between between the Helix environment and another live chat solution or our live chat solution, depending on how you want to set that up.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Robert was asking whether the smart locker allows for a vending machine style arrangement. So, for peripherals, headsets, keyboards, all of those kind of bits. How would that work?
Yeah, it does. So there's different types of smart locker effectively. So you can have ones that act like particularly like a vending machine. You can have a mixed mode set where some may be traditional boxes for, say, secure laptops, but then you also might have a set of vending booths next to it to pick up headsets, etc. And you can book all of those through the same app and have the same mechanism to open the locker or to take the peripheral out of the vending machine. Equally, you can have it checked that the peripheral they're taking is valid for their machine. So if we can pick the machine up from a CMDB, for example, we can make sure that someone doesn't take the wrong peripheral, so they're not picking one that won't work with their laptop. So you can have that control through the application.
Okay, perfect. And what else did we want to cover off? Apart from the fact that some of them wanted to hear more from you because you kept moving away from the mic a bit.
Oh, sorry.
No, we've already covered that one. So I said you should stop spinning in your chair.
It's not typically a criticism of my voice.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
One more from Fabian. Thanks, Fabian. Is it possible to interface or integrate external solutions to facilitate the employee journey? And this is the one that I think is most interesting for me. Kind of coming towards the point you were covering off at the end, which is where is it now? Where's it going to go? And what's coming? Because I mean, I certainly see, the work that we do in and around process, integrating complex technology is something we've been doing for a long time, but and doing that from the pure IT standpoint is clearly something that we've helped organizations do. But what's next, and how do we? What's it going to do that it hasn't been able to do before?
I think the difference really at the moment is that because the way that most technologies are now adopting a fairly standardized method of integration through REST means that you can access and control multiple applications or interface to multiple touch points through one single source. And that allows the users consistency. So the whole point at the end was that if I've invested in a live chat capability or I've invested in a tech bar capability, why would I restrict that purely to IT? Because if I want to get information from an IT system or an HR system or a finance system, I could do that all from one application using a common integration methodology these days. And that allows me to drive much more consistency in service. So whether that's the way that I access those services is the same every single time, or whether if I want to launch a virtual chat or a live chat, I can be directed to the agent understands what I'm trying to do straight away. Then I think we've got a huge opportunity to leverage that capability, but make it wider. And obviously that has a much easier return on investment, because what you're doing is making more use of the same service that you've got in place. And that has huge benefits just in terms of the cost to implement, but also in terms of employees getting consistency every time they access something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's much more straightforward now than it ever was before to adopt that type of style in terms of a single interface across multiple touch points.
Okay, interesting. And another really good question from Robert. Thanks, Robert. So for the virtual tech hub, do we need specific equipment, or can we just use existing Teams rooms or Teams on a laptop? So kind of to your point.
Yeah, you can. So you can use and integrate into Teams or integrate into your current room booking system, for example. That's possible through the REST web services. And obviously we can provide the physical concierge units on site as well, and they come in different sizes. So whether you have sort of a more tablet-based one which can sit on a desk, or whether you have a full-size standing one that you tend to see at airports and in businesses like that, then we can provide those as well.
Okay, perfect. Carl's asking an interesting question. The short answer, Carl, is sort of yes and sort of no. It's not polite to talk about them in public because a lot of customers don't like us to use specific names. But Carl's asked us to could we share some facts around which of the functions have been implemented and are in practical use, and kind of how many customers and customer names and that kind of thing. So I mean, it would be useful to maybe give some of our large finance or large FMCG experience, I think, at this point.
Yeah, so we have different aspects of the technology at different customers in different sectors. We're working with a major bank in terms of deploying Tech Bar virtually. We're working with another investment company around accessing virtual controls. We're working with a mobile phone provider in terms of using the concierge in the virtual reception units on some of their sites, as well as we're working with some of the airports on a return to travel capability, where we're also leveraging the technology that I spoke about today. So there's 4 examples which we can give right now, but everything I spoke about today is being used by a customer. Everything I spoke about today is being deployed and being activated. And we've just started off another major project for a large consultancy firm through one of our partners. And we've just kicked that project off this week. So there's significant interest in what we're doing. And I think that's because the way of work has changed. But when we need this hybrid model, which I think is going to be what most companies are going to adopt now over the coming months, I think this gives the flexibility to operate in both of those modes. And I think that's where the technology adds the benefit.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And Carl, if there's anything else that you'd like to know, please just get in touch, and well, happy to have a chat offline outside of the webinar. So we don't have yes. Thank you, Isla. The presentation will be available after the session. So for those of you who would like it, please let us know, and we'll make sure we get it to you. And I think that's nearly the end of the Q&A. Yes, you're all very welcome. I think I guess my closing comments would be, and so I should also I'd like to give it a little name check to our friends and colleagues at VPod who've been working with. So some of the screens and the concierge technology that we were talking about earlier is something that we've been working on with them. And other of our kind of service integration and larger technology partners, so such as Rico and some of the others. For me, what started out as if you like, a technology journey, and the reason I get really excited about this is because it solves a really pressing need. It solves a real problem that we all have at the moment. I'm here sitting from my little office, which is in the shed at the end of my garden, and that's not going to change for a good while yet. And to Aaron's point, we're not going to stop living in this world now. But what's really clear is that this isn't just a technology solution anymore. This is something that can open that whole concept. If there's one thing I'd ask you to take away, it's the concept of and the reason I sort of went through the introduction at the beginning was because it's about the components and being in the middle. The things that we've spent a lot of time and the things that we do every day with clients is about how you do that plugging, wiring and cabling of all the system and the service components to make sure that no matter what your system is, you get the right thing ordered or asked for or checked or resolved by the right team in the right place at the right time. So yes, we've always been in that concierge business, but now we're actually able to help what organizations in a way that's a far more meaningful and far more relevant than we've ever been able to before, but not just in IT. And that's the thing that's really exciting, because when we talk to the Irish banks that we're talking to, or the large FMCG organizations, or the UK globals, or there's a lot of interest in just being able to unlock things that their clients, customers, staff, teams need without actually having to reconfigure the entire organization. So because we can bolt straight into the things that they have already, because that's what we've been doing for 20 years, it's a much quicker and much lower risk way of actually turning on some capability, which until now they've not necessarily had. So whether if you've got a doing screen, if you want to go and order a burger or whatever the fast food is, you know how that works. You rock up and you place your order and you get something at the back end. But actually that now being any type of screen in any location, be it at home or an office or a satellite office, be it at the front desk or upstairs in the actual floor space and the floor plate or the floor plan, depending on where you are, is really interesting, because it just unlocks a capability that just didn't exist before. So that's for me, I think my main takeaway, that it blows out from being a traditional technology to being a much broader enterprise service play. So Aaron, is there anything else you wanted to finish off before we wrap up and let these good folk on their way?
No, I think you've covered everything there, Andrew, but I'd just like to thank everybody for attending today. And clearly, if you do want to know more, then get in touch with us. You can use hello@ktsl.com or contact myself or Andrew directly. We will make the presentation available, and we'll send out the links for that. And also, obviously, you can contact us via our website. So if there's any other information you need, then feel free to get in touch. But thank you very much for joining and attending today. Much appreciated.
Yes, and same from me. So with that, we'll give you back 6 minutes. Thanks very much for your time, and we hope you found it useful, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next of our regular webinar slots. So take care, and we'll see you soon.